She was the sweetest, kindest, funniest, most helpful, amazing girl in the world. She was the best big sister, the best daughter. She just loved to love and to be loved. She was my everything. She was our everything.
Charlotte wasn't just a name in the news. She was a daughter, a classmate, a friend. She loved animals, drawing, and cozying up in bed with a book. She had a laugh that made you smile even on the worst days. But behind Charlotte's quiet smile, there was a world of pain no one could fully see. In a world that often praises loudness and confidence, Charlotte's gentle spirit was overlooked until it was too late. On the morning of September 9th, 2024, Charlotte's life ended by suicide, just weeks into her first year of high school. She was only 12. We tell this story not to sensationalize tragedy, but to give a voice to the silent struggles that so many children carry. Charlotte Frances O'Brien was born on January the 2nd, 2012, in a small, peaceful suburb in Australia. She was her parents' first and only child, a much-awaited little miracle. From the moment she entered the world, Charlotte was quiet, calm, curious. Her mother would later say, even as a baby, she had this serenity about her, like she was always observing, always thinking. You could just see it in her eyes. Charlotte wasn't the kind of child to throw tantrums or demand attention. Instead, she found joy in the simplest things. A line of ants marching across the pavement, the sound of rain tapping against her window, or the way the sun made little patterns on the carpet. From the moment she could hold a pencil, she began to draw. Her favourite subjects were animals and magical forests, always filled with colour, always peaceful. She gave names to her drawings. Each one had a story. Her parents started calling her their little storyteller. At daycare, she was shy but affectionate. Her carers described her as thoughtful, the kind of child who would sit beside another child who was crying, even if she didn't say a word. She was deeply empathetic. She felt things deeply. When Charlotte began kindergarten, she entered a world that moved faster than she was used to. Classrooms were loud, kids were energetic. Teachers often mistook her silence for hesitation, but Charlotte was simply watching, absorbing everything. She made a few friends, other quiet kids who liked to play make-believe or draw. She wasn't a leader, but she wasn't invisible either. She smiled often, especially when she felt safe. Her parents described her early school reports as glowing. Charlotte is bright and artistic, one teacher wrote. She shows kindness beyond her years. But even in these early days, Charlotte's sensitivity became noticeable. Loud noises overwhelmed her. Crowded events drained her. And when she saw other kids being teased or yelled at, she would come home visibly shaken, even if it had nothing to do with her. Her mother remembers one night when Charlotte couldn't sleep because another child had cried after being scolded in class. She kept saying, "I hope he's okay, Mum. I keep seeing his sad face." That was just who she was. She carried other people's pain like it was her own. Despite her sensitivity, Charlotte's home life was warm. Her parents, though working long hours, made time for bedtime stories, weekend park visits, and pancake breakfasts. They nurtured her talents, enrolled her in art classes, took her to libraries. Charlotte would sit in the children's section for hours, flipping through fairy tales and animal encyclopedias. She dreamed of being an illustrator or maybe a vet. She loved animals, especially cats. She once rescued a wounded bird and stayed up all night trying to keep it warm. It died the next morning. She didn't speak for 2 days. Her world was one of empathy, observation, and quiet wonder. But it was also one where the noise and speed of modern childhood, the pressure, the competition, the social games, felt foreign. She was never the loudest, never the one jumping into the pool first or rushing to the front of the line. But her quiet nature wasn't emptiness, it was depth. Charlotte was thoughtful. She asked questions like, why do people lie if it hurts someone? Or, why don't we always help the smallest animals first? Her innocence wasn't naivety. It was a kind of fragile wisdom that rarely survives childhood. Charlotte lived her early years surrounded by love, creativity, and safety. But even then, cracks were forming beneath the surface. Not in her family, not in her intelligence, but in a world that struggles to understand kids like Charlotte, the quiet ones, the watchers, the feelers. A world that too often mistakes silence for strength and sensitivity for weakness. At age 12, Charlotte O'Brien entered Year 7, the beginning of high school. It was supposed to be a fresh start. Instead, it became the beginning of the end. Her school, located in suburban Australia, had over 900 students, packed classrooms, overworked teachers, a culture that praised confidence, popularity, dominance. Charlotte didn't fit that mold. She was quiet, kind, creative. She preferred sketching to speaking, books to gossip. That made her a target. It started small. On her second week, someone called her creepy for sitting alone at lunch. A day later, another student pulled her sketchbook from her hands and tore it. The school's cameras never caught it. The teachers never saw it. She said nothing. Then came the group chats. Digital whispers turned into public humiliation. Screenshots spread. Rumors started. Someone said she talked to herself. Others said she was weird, haunted, broken. One student told investigators after her death, people just thought she was strange. She'd sit with her head down, and that made her easy to go after. Some kids would dare each other to throw paper at her during class. No one stopped it. Charlotte was added to group chats only to be kicked out again and again. On Instagram, anonymous accounts commented on her posts. Go die. No one would miss you. You don't belong here. And then they laughed. She began deleting her posts, then stopped posting altogether. Her screen time dropped dramatically. According to metadata retrieved from her phone by authorities, she was spending more time searching terms like how to stop bullying, what to do if you're being harassed at school, why do people hate quiet girls?
Clutching a teddy tight, Matt and Kelly O'Brien mourn their little girl. Inside Charlie the bear are the ashes of their daughter Charlotte, lost to suicide at just 12 years old.
Hi, I'm going to my Year 6 farewell tonight.
In a new documentary released by the Daily Telegraph today, Charlotte's parents reveal their daughter's final wish written in a note. Share her story to stop the bullying crisis infecting our schools.
I found out after she passed that she was hiding in toilets and, just so afraid, but she didn't tell me.
Charlotte's mother Kelly says she pleaded for help from her daughter's school, Santa Sabina College. But nothing happened. Instead, she was met with silence.
Once adults have been notified, they need to stand up. They need to be the upstanders.
It's a story shared by hundreds of families who have lost their children to suicide. Parents being turned away from schools while desperate for help.
Charlotte told her mother something was wrong. Once. I don't want to go to school anymore, she whispered. Her mother asked why. Charlotte only replied, it's not safe there. Her parents contacted the school. They were told it was probably normal adjustment stress. No formal report was filed, no follow-up. She was sent back. By August 2024, Charlotte had stopped eating lunch, stopped drawing. Teachers noted her head was often down, her grades dropped, and no one intervened. Peers would later describe her presence as ghost-like. She walked with her arms crossed, shoulders hunched, eyes always down. The final documented bullying incident happened just 6 days before her death. A classmate shoved her into a locker door. She hit her head and started crying. A teacher passed by. Nothing was reported. That weekend, Charlotte drew a final picture. Her sketchbook, found under her pillow after her death, contained a page of black scribbles with one sentence, "You all win." On September 9th, 2024, Charlotte was found unresponsive in her bedroom by her mother. The official cause of death: suicide by asphyxiation. She was 12 years old. The school released a statement offering condolences. A brief mention was made during assembly. Grief counsellors were brought in for 1 week. But no students were held accountable. No systemic changes were announced. The files were closed. The story was buried. But Charlotte's parents, especially her mother, refused to let it end there.
Kelly O'Brien leans into the hearse that holds her 12-year-old daughter's coffin to give it one last hug farewell. So overcome with grief, she can hardly stand. Her partner Matt holds her upright. The O'Briens asked us to be here today to remember Charlotte and raise awareness of the enormous damage that bullying can bring.
I will miss everything about you, baby. I will miss your hugs, your kisses, your laugh, your beautiful, beautiful smile.
Charlotte took her life almost 3 weeks ago after years of relentless torment at school.
Everything we did together, we had fun. Whether it was a trip to the shops or the park. You are my world, my life, my queen bee diva, my beauty queen. The star on top of the Christmas tree.
She loved to be loved, and we love to love her back. Thank you for giving me the greatest honour to be your dad.
Mary Immaculate Church congregation at capacity and beyond able to cope with the grief themselves. But it was nothing compared with Kelly's pain.
I'll never be okay without you. Not even for a day.
At one stage, Kelly ran in to hold the coffin again. She called Charlotte her best friend and soulmate, a mini mum to brother Will.
Hey, baby William, it's your big sissy Charlie.
As Father Sebastian, the priest who baptised Charlotte, today led her farewell, the tears rolled down Kelly's cheeks and wouldn't stop. Father Sebastian used the funeral to highlight the scourge of bullying worldwide, quoting United Nations figures that 1 in 3 children suffer from it. He's begging for more to be done. Kelly and Matt carried out the coffin, praying Charlotte's story will help prevent another family having to endure a loss like this.
This isn't goodbye. It just means we get to love you as you are forever. I love you.
Chris Reason, 7 News.
Charlotte Frances O'Brien, 2nd January 2012, 9th September 2024. Let her story not be forgotten. If you or someone you know is struggling with bullying or suicidal thoughts, please seek help. You're not alone.